Welcome back, everybody, in this second part of Iron Man's, you can say, a bit information about Iron Man and a bit of his biography in the form of this podcast. So, in this session, we will talk about his publication history, like when was it premiered. Iron Man's Marvel Comics premiere in Tales of Suspense. Cover date was March 1963. It was a collaboration among editor and story plotter Stan Lee, scripter Larry Libb, story artist Don Heck, and cover artist and character designer Jack Kirby or Kirby. I think the scripter is pronounced like Larry Labor. So in 1963, Lee had been toying with the idea of a businessman superhero. He wanted to create the quintessential capitalist, a character that would go against the spirit of the times and Marvel's readership. Lee said that I think I gave myself a dare. It was the height of the Cold War. The young readers, if there was one thing they hated, it was war. It was the military. So I got a hero who represented that to the 100th degree. He was a weapons manufacturer. He was providing weapons for the army. He was rich. He was an industrialist. I thought it would be fun to take the kind of character that nobody would like, none of our readers would like, and shove him down their throats and make them like him, and he became very popular. So this was what Lee said about the character of Iron Man. Then he set out to make the new character. Who? Stan Lee. A new character, a wealthy, glamorous ladies' man, but one with a secret that would plague and torment him as well. Writer Gerry Conway said, "Here you have this character who on the outside is invulnerable, just can't be touched, but inside is a wounded figure." Stan made it very much an in-your-face wound. His heart was broken, literally broken. But there's a metaphor going on there, and that's, I think, what made that character interesting. Then Lee based this playboy's looks and personality on Howard Hughes. Explaining, Howard Hughes was one of the most colorful men of our time. He was an inventor, an adventurer, a multi-billionaire, a ladies' man, and finally a nutcase. Without being crazy, he was Howard Hughes, Lee said. While Lee intended to write the story himself, a minor deadline emergency eventually forced him to hand over the premiere issue to Labor, who fleshed out the story. The art was split between Kirby and Heck. He designed the costume, Heck said of Kirby, because he was doing the cover. The covers were always done first. But I created the look of the characters like Tony Stark and his Secretary Pepper Potts. In a 1990 interview, when asked if he had a specific model for Tony Stark and the other characters, Heck replied, "No, I would be thinking more along the lines of some characters I like, which would be the same kind of characters that Alex thought liked, which was an Errol Flynn type." Iron Man first appeared in 13 to 18 page stories in Tales of Suspense, which featured anthology science fiction and supernatural stories. The character's original costume was a bulky grey armored suit, replaced by a golden version in the second story. Issue 40, April 1963. It was redesigned as sleeker red and golden armor in issue 48, December 1963. By that issue, interior artist Steve Ditko, although Kirby drew it on the cover. As Heck recalled in 1985, the second costume, the red and yellow one, was designed by Steve Ditko. "I found it easier than drawing that bulky old thing. The earlier design, the robot-looking one, was more Kirby-ish." In his premiere, Iron Man was an anti-communist hero, defeating various Vietnamese agents. Lee later regretted this early focus. Throughout the character's comic book series, technological advancement and national defense were constant themes for Iron Man, but later issues developed Stark into a more complex and vulnerable character as they depicted his battle with alcoholism, as in the Demon in a Bottle storyline, and other personal difficulties. From issue 59, November 1964, to its final issue 99, which was published on March 1968, the anthological science fiction backup stories and Tales of Suspense was replaced by a feature starring the superhero Captain America. Lee and Heck introduced several adversaries for the character, including the Mandarin in issue 50, February 1964, the Black Widow in 52, April 1964, and Hawkeye 5 issues later. That of all the comic books we published at Marvel, we got more fan mail for Iron Man from females than any other title. We didn't get much fan mail from girls, but whenever we did, the letter was usually addressed to Iron Man. Lee and Kirby included Iron Man in the Avengers 1st September 1963. This is about the comic book. So, as a founding member of the superhero team, who was the founding member of the superhero team? Iron Man. The character has since appeared in every subsequent volume of the series. Writers have updated the war and locally in which Stark is injured. In the original 1963 story, it was the Vietnam War. In the 1990s, it was updated to be the first Gulf War, and in the 2000s, updated again to be the war in Afghanistan. Stark's time with the Asian Nobel Prize winning scientist Ho Yun-sin is consistent through nearly all incarnations of the Iron Man origin, depicting Stark and Yun-sin building the original armor together. One exception is the direct-to-DVD animated feature film, The Invincible Iron Man, in which the armor Stark uses to escape his captors is not the first Iron Man suit. Now we will come to the themes of this Iron Man. The original Iron Man title explored Cold War themes, as did other Stan Lee projects in the early years of Marvel Comics, where the Fantastic Four and the Incredible Hulk respectively focused on American domestic and government responses to the communist threat. Iron Man explored industry role in the struggle. Tony Stark's real-life model, Howard Hughes, was a significant defense contractor who developed new weapons technologies. Hughes was an icon both of American individualism and of the burdens of fame. Historian Robert Genter, in the Journal of Popular Culture, writes that Tony Stark specifically represents an idealized portrait of the American inventor, where earlier decades had seen important technological innovations come from famous individuals, example Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, the Wright brothers. The 1960s saw new technologies including weapons being developed mainly by the research teams of corporations. As a result, little room remained for the inventor, who wanted credit for and creative and economic control over their own creations. Issues of entrepreneur autonomy, government supervision of research, and ultimate loyalty figured prominently in early Iron Man stories. The same issues affecting American scientists and engineers of that era. Tony Stark writes, Genter is an inventor who finds motive in his emasculation as an autonomous creative individual. This blow is symbolized by his chest wound inflicting at the moment he is forced to invent things for the purposes of others instead of just himself. To Genter, Stark's transformation into Iron Man represents Stark's effort to reclaim his autonomy and thus his manhood. The character's pursuit of women in bed or in battle, writes Genter, represents another aspect of this effort. The pattern finds parallels in other works of 1960s popular fiction by authors such as Ian Fleming, creators of James Bond, Mickey Spillane, Mike Hammer, and Norman Mailer, who made unregulated sexuality a form of authenticity. So we come to this end of this session of today's Iron Man. Hope you liked the premiere and the theme of the story Iron Man. In next video we will see solo series and we will complete the fictional character biography, we will see origin. So thank you for listening to me. Take care and bye bye.